Extraordinary any of your children contemplating Broadway right now, not as of now get developed in light of the fact that a truly short rundown of individuals began acting when they were youthful, that you still around on the off chance that they're around there getting hell by interface stabs that perhaps ought not be associated. I don't know yet sure that resembles when I see that they put each individual of color in the motion pictures in a dress. Eventually they could develop the best parts. Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy. Oh, what is his party resembles? Is he simply, I'm certain you've heard definitely. I've heard a couple of stories yet for you in Hollywood you never. Underscore underscore. They'll host these large-ass manor gatherings, and the house party, the entire match party. And afterward, it's a different separate from the little rooms how you realize things are wild in media outlets, is the point at which a 3 or more 10 years veteran uncovered current realities. And this was the very case with Eddie Murphy, as the entertainer has recently spoken about a portion of the things that happen with individuals of color in Hollywood. Murphy appears to accept there's a wide plan having an effect on everything in the business against individuals of color, a plan that has apparently forced specific explicit jobs on individuals of color, transforming it into a custom that everybody that needs to get by in the business should go through. Sounds horrendous, doesn't it? Well, fair warning, there's significantly more going on than meets the eye so exciting. When I let you know you would rather not miss this, Eddie Murphy is quite possibly of the greatest name in Hollywood. And on the off chance that he's colloquialism, that the business is on a mission to get individuals of color, wouldn't you say there may be a reality to it? Well, it appears to be the entertainer is persuaded that the higher powers in Hollywood have made it a custom for individuals of color to show up in a specific light before they climb the stepping stool. It's been this way for a really long time, yet it's not African Americans. It's likewise about ladies and different minorities. 2 white men maintain this business. It's forever been this way, the entertainer expressed. And for the entertainers that have figured out how to scale through Murphy, except it has come at a really significant expense. First of all, there's the way that pretty much every significant name in Hollywood is known for swinging to the opposite side for some job, a common holdback in Hollywood for a dark male humorist to genuinely become showbiz royalty. He apparently must put on a dress. Flip Wilson did it on his show as Geraldine during the 70s and 80s. Martin Lawrence and Jamie Foxx did it as Shanena on Martin and Wanda on Unfiltered and Full of Life individually during the 90s. As did Eddie Murphy as Mon and Granny Bunch in The Nutty Teacher Establishment, the primary film of which won an Oscar for Rick Cook and David Leroy Anderson's Cosmetics in 1997. Seen in Marlon Wayans and White Chicks Tracy Morgan and Kenan Thompson on Saturday Night Live, Miguel Núñez-Ger and Joanna Mann, Brandon T. Jackson, close by Martin in The Huge Mother's Home Establishment, and Tyler Perry. They all did it during the 2000s, and past Dave Chappelle eminently didn't do it in a 2006 meeting with Oprah the humorist, who was broadly reprimanded for his obviously transphobic Netflix satire. Exceptional 15 years after the fact shared an anecdote about declining to do a scene in a Martin Lawrence film that would have expected him to wear a dress, notwithstanding unremitting nudging by the essayist chief and makers. Dave reviewed he stood firm that he was awkward with the thought, and at last more entertaining than a dress. Dave's obstruction has since been referred to as a dismissal of white Hollywood's alleged continuous work to undermine the person of color dressed in drag characters, being a main illustration of a broad communications connivance at work. Now we could challenge the scholarly merits in that, however, there are a lot of nignogs going around who concur, assuming demonstrated by nothing other than the pilot episode of the kickoff series White Popular, which ran for a solitary season in 2017. About a remarkable new humorist and delivered by Jamie Foxx, whose own profession motivated its idea. The Lake series' first episode fixates on an open door introduced to Jay Farrow's personality, to star in a major maker's film as the elderly person a la media. Yet dissimilar to Jamie, there are a few dark comics that said they were never going down that way, yet some way or another still wound up in a dress. And this was the very case with Chris Rock, in light of the fact that the comic at first said I don't wear a dress in it. That is a major contrast, I feel. That is the greatest, however, at that point, soon after we got the shock of our lives. When we saw the very individual, as this strike you as something that happened, normally I'm a confident person. And I'd say scarcely at any rate Chris Rock isn't the one in particular that apparently whip-topped dressing in drag jobs, yet wound up in a dress. Kevin Hart is one more dark entertainer that is recently discussed playing specific jobs being presented in Hollywood, like numerous different entertainers who have done dresses for exhibitions. Kevin additionally joined the positions of dark jokesters who have embraced this comedic custom in 2015. He wore a dress for a production on Saturday Night Live. And Cat Williams later gave a clarification in regards to this decision. Hello, Kevin doesn't need to stress over the thing individuals will say regarding him wearing a dress due to the long queue of dress-wearing individuals before him. Generally pretty much every person of color who is popular for a lady character they've played has said their characters are enlivened by ladies. They and we know for Tyler Perry. It's his mom and auntie for Martin Lawrence. It was the round the manner in which ghetto spectacular chicks named after extravagance vehicles the equivalent for Jamie Foxx. While clearly satire at the center is supposed to be an affection for a respect toward these kinds of ladies in our networks, maybe this ballad is additionally evident is that a portion of these characters are development variants of what history specialist Donald Bogle named his set of experiences of dark portrayal on Screen Tom's Coons, Mulatta's Mammies and Bucks. And this, by the way, likewise goes for the renowned virtual entertainment powerhouse, who have constructed their following and vocation off of similar style of characters in cartoons as Tyler and Jame and Martin. And most of them, talking about Martin the entertainer, energetically partook in the broadly perceived practice of wearing dresses inside the diversion domain. Quite he joined the dress-wearing disaster in the film. Huge Mom's Home, every son follows after his dear old dad in this comedic adventure. Lawrence cleverly embraced the job of enormous mother, further cementing the hypothesis of Hollywood famous people expecting to play out the custom anyway. That wasn't the very case for Brandon T. Jackson, the entertainer and professional comic known for huge film industry films Percy Jackson, and the Olympians Jungle Thunder and Roll Skip happened to parody promotion to discuss his vocation. He had concedes that when he chose to wear a dress in Martin Lawrence's Large Moms, every son follows his old man's example. His entire individual life disintegrated, everything turned out badly. When I put on that dress, Jackson told parody publicity, my own life was wrecked, yet my profession was at its level. The entertainer even said that comic Cat Williams attempted to caution him to not wear the dress. Strangely, Jackson demands that undermining his convictions and breaking the dress put down his fire once I put the dress on. And I had that fire, the fire was extinguished. And I just did it one time, Jackson said. So envisioned doing it multiple times yet, when Tyler Perry did it.